Time now to continue with the Lunar Greenhouse Lab. I believe this is video 10 in the series. And I'm going to do the texturing now for the satellite dish and the antenna. Very straightforward, just very much like the other stuff I've done. And I think after that I'm going to just go off and finish the scene myself, because there's really nothing new to show you, I don't think anyhow, unless I come up with something special. So if you just have a look at the model itself, you can see where I've put seams. Some of those seams are for unwrapping purposes, and some of them are for marking areas to put down the textures. And I'll try to talk a little bit about that as I do this. What you'll notice over here is I'm using the UDIM method. I have multiple UV tiles here, and I've got my UV islands put into different UV tiles, and this is going to allow me to get much more resolution here for both the satellite dish and the antenna, as opposed to using, say, just one UV tile for everything. All right, so I'll link you to a couple of videos where I've done this. I've done it in 4 or 5 videos now. I sometimes show the export of the textures from Substance Painter back into Blender and setting them up in Blender, and I sometimes don't. So I can link you to some videos where I've shown that. And in this particular one, I think we'll end at creating the textures in Substance Painter, and I won't show the export and setup in Blender because I've done that before, and I don't want to just waste your time. All right, but I'll link you to some videos on that. So this is what I've got right now, and some of these pieces are separate from each other, and some are joined, whatever, like that. It doesn't really matter, but yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to export this as an FBX and bring it into Substance Painter. We need to make sure that we have this checked in Substance Painter, and satellite dish antenna. Press OK, and there is the model. First thing we need to do is the baking. Now this will take a little while because there are quite a few UV tiles. So I'll click Bake Mesh Maps, 2048, uncheck ID. I'll show you just a little bit as we do this, and we'll see if we get to the point where you can see the little squares that we love to see. I'm not sure what there they come up. Okay, so that looks very nice. All right, I'm going to jump in again when it's done. The model is now baked, and having a first look at it, and it's looking okay. Now I may have a little bit of shading issues, but when I go back into Blender I'll solve those very simply. All right, so we are ready to go. Let's have a look at this. Okay, you can see all the UDIM tiles. You'll notice I have just one material here. I'm actually going to click here, and I'm going to call this satellite antenna, and that will be the name of the material in Blender. We're currently at 1024, so we'll up-res that later on. All right, so first things first, we're going to use that same smart material that I've been using, and I'm going to come in here. It's going to go on both of them, and I'm just going to change the roughness here. I'm going to get rid of the metal. We actually don't need that. I'm going to bring that up to here. Okay, good. So we've got that down. So that's our base sort of material on there. We've got a little bit of smudges on it. That's great. Let's do some black on this. I'm going to use plastic, and I'll use this matte and get rid of the metal. I'll drop the roughness to about the same as I did before, make it black, and we need to choose some stuff to make black. Let's put a black mask and come over to polygon fill, and let's use mesh for now. And actually, let's use UV chunk and try this. That gets just there. Now, once again, I had put a seam right down here, all right, on both of them, and that prevents it from going down to there. If that made sense. Let's come over here and let's have a look at these buttons. I'm still on UV chunk, am I? So I'm going to put it on mesh, and I'm going to do the whole button, and then we'll come back and do just the top with something else. So we'll put it there. I'm going to come over here to this light type thing. We'll put it there. I'm going to come to UV chunk, and I'm going to put some black on here, and it's just going to cover that area there. And I guess I'm going to need to get that back poly, if it's not black as well. Okay, that. How about we do that bar? Let's go over to mesh. I'll do that differently and those differently. I think that is what I want in black. So let's call this, let's just call it black instead of black plastic. Let's duplicate that layer and clear the mask and change the color. I'm going to color pick from, where is it there? Okay, I want that orange again, just so I have a theme going. And on the mask, I'll do UV chunk. I'm going to select, I think I'll have to do a couple of clicks to get all of this. And let's see what I want. Again, I've got a seam there and I've got a seam there, so I'm getting the orange there. I want something different there. That's really it for the orange. Okay, I don't know how orange it looks to you. Let's just change the environment there. This is going to be orange. Let's do some metal. I'm going to type in metal in the materials. Not a smart material. This steel rough, I've used that before. I'm going to add a black mask. I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'm going to come up here, and I should be on UV chunk, so I'm going to select here and here. Okay, I need a couple of clicks to do this. Ah, I do want the orange up on there. I forgot. Let's see if I'm getting all of that. Yeah, in metal. Okay, good. Let's come back then to the orange here and select that and that and see if I got all of it. Yeah, I wanted it to look like there's metal in between there. Okay, steel rough, that's good enough. I don't want any more steel on there. It's going to be very straightforward texturing this one. Let's do some more work now on the buttons. Yeah. Okay, let's copy, say, the orange one. Well, let's just duplicate that up, and I'll leave it right there. Actually, I'll clear the mask, and I'll make a couple of color variations. We're obviously going to need a red one. Is it looking red? Let's try this with, yeah, that. And do a couple of these. And it should go down 3 levels. Okay, the top, the next row, again, because I put a seam, 3 down on every button. So we're going to have that there. I'm going to come over to this one. Not sure if I need to put it on this, if I'm doing an emission on this. Anyways, could have a base of that color. So we've got, let's call this red buttons, and I'll duplicate that and clear the mask and change the color to, actually I'm forgetting my sort of default. I'm thinking of actually kind of like a gray this time. Let's try that and see what that looks like. If I put that on all of these, actually if I put that on this one and this one, but I take that above, yeah, and maybe that's my default button color, and then I'll do like a couple of green ones or something. So this is gray buttons. I admit I just am a wreck when I come to do these. I'm just not confident at all about my colors. That's my weakness there. What am I doing? I'm clearing that mask, and I'm going to do a bit of green. Yeah, okay. All right, green. I may go back and change these later. I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, the next thing I always do is I always do the button shine. I usually use just a paint layer and a color, and I'll show you that. I've done it multiple times. Just darken that just a little bit. And then I take an alpha, which is a square. I usually use a square. And I'll look down here. And I drop that square. I just click it on all of these buttons. Not that one. All right, and then I come back here and I add a filter, and the filter I use is the blur filter, and then as I pull this up, those fade out and start looking like that. Just like that. Okay, my colors. All right, okay, and I call this button shine. And then I add an emission. To do that, I need to come to my channels. I don't have emission here, so I click the plus, emissive, and then I create a fill layer, and I alt-click emission, so I'm just using emission, and then I choose maybe red, like that. In the shader settings, I increase the emissive intensity. I'll start with that. Come back to the layer and add a black mask, and come over here and then just click, you know, maybe I want those two, and I'll come over here and that one as well, and that gives that effect. I'm not quite done yet. I'm going to come to the display settings and activate post effects. Sorry about that. Glare, and come in here and bloom. And I think if I come here and if just watch the intensity there, you can see it coming through. All right, let's call this emissive red. Maybe I'll do one more, and there won't be too much of that. Duplicate the layer. Okay, let's clear the mask. Let's change the color to, let's say, a green. Start with that, and on the mask. Let's get in here. Let's just do that one. Okay. This is emissive green. And let's say that's good. For the moment, I'll take all these buttons here down to there, and I'll Control G, and I'll put them in a folder. Call them buttons. And let's see what we've got. Okay, so far so good. We're going to do some alpha work now, and then we'll add some dirt. So I like to use just a paint layer, and I'm going to use just height. So I'm alt clicking on height, dropping it down about a third, maybe close to a half. All right, I'm going to come to alphas. I'm going to search bolts. I'm going to use the same bolt I always use, JRO bolt 53 in, and we're going to check. There it is. Good resolution. And where are we? Okay, here we are. Okay, let's try orthographic, see if it helps us in any way. It may or may not. Okay, I'm going to reduce that size and see if I can get a bolt in the corner of all of these. There. Those are some small ones, and I think we will increase the size of this, and we'll just sort of put it around, let's say one there and there, there, and one over here. That's probably good enough for that. Let's see. I want to put one on the side of those. Maybe just like that. And we're going to have some more. We're going to come over here to the side, and let's see, I'll just reduce the size a little bit, and we're going to do one here, and we're going to do one here, and on the inside here and here. And I haven't been rotating them. You can. It might look better. What I maybe want a couple on this thing, one up there and here. Yeah, I don't think I can get anywhere else. And I'm going to put some text on there. See where else I want bolts. Do I want them on here? And let's just do 4 of them and see if it looks bad or if it looks good. No, I think it looks. I think it's gonna look good. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll call them, like, I don't know, bolt screws. I do the same thing. Actually, no, I want to call this alphas. Let's go ahead and save it and add some dirt to this, and then we'll see where we're at. I just want to have a look at what's going on here. Okay, I got some funny stuff going on at the top. Let's add some dirt and then some text, and then we'll go back into perspective view, because this is pretty much what I want to get. So got alphas there, steel. Let's bring the steel down. Let's see. Just leave the alphas near the top. Okay, fill layer, color and roughness only. Roughness all the way up. We're going to do some dirt. For the color, we'll do a sort of a dark brown. Almost black, and a black mask, and then click here, generator, and for the generator we're going to choose dirt. That's going to do it on both. We'll just reduce the amount. Yeah, maybe a little bit less than that. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. What we do need to do is get the dirt into the bolts, and and the buttons are even looking, I think, a little bit better, or maybe that's just me. Let's call this dirt. On the alphas, I'm going to add an anchor point. It'll just be called alphas, and on the dirt layer, I'm going to scroll down, micro details, turn micro height on to true, micro height, click that, and choose anchor point alphas, and then change the reference channel to height. And let's watch those bolts. There we go. It's starting to come together, and it puts it in here and on the side. So, I mean, I can erase those if I wanted to. For example, I don't think I've done that in a video. So really quickly, if I'm on the alpha layer, as long as I did this just with height, if I did it with color, I got to make sure that's turned on. But I just come to the eraser and change the size, and I can just get rid of that. I have it was height that I had on there, so if I switch this to height, okay, I can just get rid of those. Maybe I will do that. All right, and that's it. I didn't do on the other side. I see that I do have a problem here. I'm just noticing with these, and okay, so there's something that went wrong with the UV, so I'll have to fix that. I didn't do that in my test. Okay, so back on the alpha layer, and I'm going to use height and color, and I'm going to darken this up. And for height, because I'm doing text, I just want it indented a little bit. Okay, like that, and I'm going to type in font, and I've been using Orbitron, and this is where my mind goes blank. I'm going to call this LSAT. I don't know what that means, but we're going to do that, and I'm going to type LSAT right there. And then I'm going to type ant1, like this is a mixture of capitals and not capitals, like antenna 1, ant1, and then ant2, like that. That's good enough. And then we're going to come over here, and we're going to see if I can write the word control. We'll make it small enough to try and fit it there. Okay, we're going to up-res this soon, so don't worry about the resolution. Yeah, it's relatively centered. Okay, and I'm also looking in orthographic, so it looks kind of weird. We're going to do that, and what else are we going to do? We're going to do something on the side of this. We're going to write LUNASAT, I think, like that, LUNASAT. And I'm going to hold Control, and I'm going to my right mouse button and pull to rotate this. Let's get this in here. And we're going to try just stamp that in there. I'll do it on the other side as well. I'm snapping to orthographic. Okay, so let's rotate this around. Let's just move that back up. Okay, so we have that on there. Yeah, let's say something for this button. I usually call it, let's say, just power, like this. And it's probably rotated, eh? So let's go and just rotate this back. Let's come in here. Let's try. Put it there. Okay. Okay. And of course, because I'm typing on the alpha layer that has the anchor, some of the dirt is going into those. I think that's good enough to show it to you. So let's go back to perspective. And yeah, short of fixing these up, I think that's pretty much what I'm going for. So we'll have a look here with anti-aliasing on and with the color profile, and I usually choose that one, and then I usually change this depending on the model. I like that view just to see how I like the textures. It won't look exactly the same in Blender, but so that's what we're getting, and I think that's pretty much what I'm going to go for. All right, so it's very easy to export this and set it up. But like I say, I've done that before in videos, so I'll link you to some of that. I'll go ahead and I'll fix this stuff up, and I'll carry on with the modeling. If I do anything incredible, I'll show you. And otherwise, when I come back in a while, and it might take me a few days, I'll show you some updates of what I've got and eventually get to the end, because we will be starting a new Blender challenge soon. So I would like to get through this project. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching. See you next time.